You're a woman. If you're like most of the women that I know, you are a perfectionist. In order to thrive in a man's world, women, we learn that we have to be better than everybody else in order to be successful. We have to be perfect. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, perfection is going to keep you from being great. It's going to keep you from being you. So it's not only embrace your mistakes, but make more of them. Fail more often. Be willing to stand out. Be willing to make more mistakes, because then you'll learn more and then you'll get more out of every experience. Be willing to be the weirdo. Be willing to be the one blossom on a tree of twigs. Embrace your mistakes and be an improviser.
Hi, my name is Daniel Knutson-Bradac, and I've been teaching improvisation here in Olympia, Washington for the last 15 years. Over that time, my classes have been comprised of about 75% women, and over 50% of those have been over the age of 40. And the one thing that I can share with you is that when the majority of improvisers are women, and the majority of them tend to be over 40, the improv is always excellent and well supported, and the ability for jerks to flourish becomes non-existent. So I hope you will work and support each other, go together in groups, have a wonderful time, create beautiful improv. Bye.
I'm John Mechalas.
I am Starr Ahrens.
And we're improvisers in Portland, Oregon. And we teach a workshop which we call Improv Self-Defense.
So Improv Self-Defense is designed to introduce techniques which empower performers when they're faced with an improv situation that is uncomfortable or inappropriate on stage.
We were asked to give you some advice, and so here's what we have for you.
Well, first of all, keep in mind that this is improv. So you're playing and you have everything at your disposal. So if you're faced with something uncomfortable, you can use anything in the world because it's all pretend. You can turn into a monster. You can call in another person. You can do anything. It's improv.
If it hasn't been established, you can establish it. Accepting an offer doesn't mean accepting the role that has been forced on you.
So one of the fundamental aspects of improv self-defense is we talk about responding honestly with an emotionally honest reply. And a lot of times this really neutralizes an uncomfortable initiation or offer on stage and allows both players to sort of reflect on the reality of the proposed scenario.
The beauty of this technique is that what you're really doing is calling out the offensive or the unwanted behavior on stage through your character.
And then ultimately, once you are finished with the show where, whatever it was that was uncomfortable happened, we strongly encourage people to, even though it's difficult, to talk about it, to talk about what happened, talk about what made you feel uncomfortable. Let the player that gave you the uncomfortable offer know that is a boundary for you, that it can be triggering. That kind of open and honest communication among ensemble members really can be a powerful connecting tool. Like people really become bonded to each other once they understand what is sort of emotionally challenging for the other person and isn't enjoyable for them to play with on stage.
It's also important to bring these up during workshop. Extremely important, because you want to prevent problems from growing over the course of however long your series is.
At the end of the day, just don't give up. Don't stop playing. If something happens and it's challenging or uncomfortable for you, you can work through it. There are many, many ways to make this a safe place for you, to make on stage a safe place. So keep working, don't give up, do what you need to do, surround yourself with people you feel safe with, etc., just so that you are not put off or frozen by the actions of someone else who's acting on their own insecurities.
Hi, I'm Patrick Short. I'm the general manager of CSE Portland. We're the producers of comedy sports in Portland, Oregon. I'm doing improv for almost 30 years, 29 with comedy sports, and working in corporate settings teaching applied improvisation since 1989, or about 27 years. Improv is so much fun. It's a beautiful and intimate and wonderful and passionate experience. And that's where sometimes we run into trouble. There are two things that drive me crazy. The first is guys who think women aren't funny. First of all, they're wrong. Second, it's ridiculous. And it really comes from a place of insecurity, and I wish people would just get over it. The second thing is there's sometimes players who enter improv not from a playful standpoint, but to try and use power plays on people, or to enforce their high status on people, or live out their personal fantasies, which is kind of gross. And there are lots of things you can do to learn to get past that and to help educate those people and make them better people. And I hope you do that. Our women in our organization are very powerful and very funny. One of my favorite memories is a charity show we did, an improv show, and my wife, Ruth Jenkins, was playing in it, and she was on a team with a guest star, a radio DJ who didn't have improv experience. And before the show, he drank about a bottle of wine for courage and was getting a little frisky with people during the show. And at one point, he actually grabbed my wife's breasts. And her response to it was brilliant. She basically said, I haven't breastfed my son in nearly 4 hours, so you're going to get what you get if you keep grabbing those. And the audience just roared, and he was taken aback and sort of settled in for the rest of the show as a better guest, if you will. It was a very powerful moment, very, very funny, and I'm very proud of her. You can learn those things too, and I hope you do. Improv's great. But sometimes you have to be ready for the people who don't really understand it as well as you do. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Hsiao-Hsien Wu. I'm based in Taipei, Taiwan. One thing I found helpful to set healthy boundaries on the stage and in life is practicing say no as much as practicing say yes. All the good concepts we learn in improv are meant to help us to react better in the moment. So it does not mean that yes is the only answer for every situation. Actually, yes in improv means accept others' idea and also your own idea. When we face boundary-related choice, usually we can feel an answer in our heart. It's either yes or no. And I found some people or different people might have difficulty to actually say the word yes or no in the moment. And when we say yes to the wrong thing, or when we say no to the right thing, it could be a disaster. So I think practicing say no is as important as practicing say yes. So let's practice.
Hi, I'm Katie Goodman. I'm an improviser and I work in New York City. I've been actually working with all male improv comedy troupes, except for me, for the last 20 years. I've been in the same company with these guys for 15 to 20 years. Some of them have come and gone. So I have a lot to say on this subject. Basically, first of all, these are really nice, good guys, but occasionally we end up playing with another team, with people I don't really know, and they're the gamut. Sometimes we get sort of like misogynistic things happening in the middle of a scene. So how do we deal with them? Here's what I started learning early on, is to not get like kind of pissy and bitter, because when you do that on stage, you just end up looking like the jerk and like you don't have a sense of humor, which is unfortunate and stupid. But here's the more fun way to deal with it, which is you see it as a challenge. How can I turn this sort of misogynistic thing that has been handed to me into something creative and feminist and powerful and fun? For example, I have many, many, many times been sort of assigned the character of like a prostitute or something. So in a yes-anding kind of a way, what I've done is I'll end up being like the CEO madam of the place, or something that's a little bit more of a powerful feminist character who then kind of, takes over the scene in the way that I want to see it go. Basically, I shift everything. It's a total yes and. You take what you're given, and instead of just kind of going, oh my God, I have to be the hooker again, or even just simpler things like I have to be all the stereotypical stuff, a mom, a nurse, a kindergarten teacher, or whatever, you take it and you make there be something really interesting about the character. Maybe the kindergarten teacher who has, she's a super spy undercover, or something a little bit different that you don't always see. Or if it's something that is a kind of a submissive role, maybe something a little bit stronger. It also makes you have a more integral part, usually, in the plot, in the scene, which gives you more, I'm trying not to use the word power, but more of a oomph in the scene and more of a presence. So that is kind of how I have done it. I really, seriously, I have been like, I've been, assigned endless, I don't know what it is, prostitutes constantly, or just something super wimpy, and those aren't fun. So I just early on decided not to get annoyed at it and just to take it and make it into something creative that nobody was expecting. So it kind of solves all the problems at once. It shows women have a sense of humor, women are strong and smart and creative, and then it also shows a different kind of a character that people hadn't seen before, and that we have a bigger range than we are normally given. Anyway, have fun, you guys.